My name is Etienne de Bruin. I am the founder of 7 CTOs. I like to say that we change robot hearts into jars of warm honey. Just testing if that works. It's not landing. It's not landing. I founded an organization called 7 CTOs, which helps CTOs become world-class leaders. That's also not landing. Fascinating. My wife and I moved to San Diego about 20 years ago, and I've been part of the tech scene for as many years. Founded a company, sold a company, and now investing in chief technology officers in their leadership journey. I'm extremely proud to be on the stage with these 3 humans. We have Adil from PSYONIC. We have Alexei from Natilus. And we have Yin with Seismic. Okay, gauging from the audience, there are no favorites. Wow, this is a tough. When you applause, people are excited. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, so today we're going to talk about innovation in SoCal. We have about 30 minutes. I'd love to see some audience participation. So we have some questions we're going to talk about and get the conversation going. But it would be great if you could politely raise your hand if you have a question so that we can have this be more interactive. Are you guys cool with that, or would you prefer to have a stunned silence and 0 participation? Who wants participation? Okay, who does not want participation? Okay, cool. Everybody wants participation. Okay, so I'm going to start off. Yin, you're the VP of AI at Seismic. You have a long history in San Diego. Qualcomm.
Nirvana,
Yes.
Intel, Exokind,
and
Seismic.
I'm very interested in what about Seismic's generative AI vision drew you to the company?
Wow, that's a very big question. I have been working in the field of AI for a long time. And as a product builder, we really wanted to bring AI into the user journey and bring benefits to end users. And I think Seismic is the right place for me. It is solving a very real domain problem for sales and marketing, for sales and enablement operation. And AI has a lot of natural fit as a part of the user journey to help user to get the job done. It has a very strong business traction. 22,000 organizations are using Seismic, millions of active users in the platform every week. And it's just a lot of good things that we can utilize as an opportunity to bring AI to the end user.
Love it. I think, Al, are you in the room? Did Seismic acquire your company, right? Did Seismic acquire anyone else's company? Seismic was founded in a basement in Encinitas and obviously reached unicorn status and was ready to attract Yin to the company. So, awesome.
Yeah, I heard a lot of great things about Al. Nice to meet you here.
Al, you cool with that? Okay, cool. Okay. Alexei, you know, I watched your video on your website, and Alexei has chosen to revolutionize the air freight industry. And he shared a very interesting stat. He said 90% of freight gets shipped on the ocean, and only 10% through the skies. But 90% of the value of goods is shipped or is flown, and only 10% is shipped.
That's correct, yeah.
I was trying to impress you. Did I nail that?
You killed it. Killed it.
I had to remember the 90 and the 10 and the 10 and the 90. That was tough. Anyways, you have an amazing story because you actually moved Nautilus from the Bay Area to San Diego. Can you talk about that?
So yes, Nautilus was started in 2016 out of the Bay Area by me and my other co-founder. We spent the first, say, half of our, well, 3/4 of our journey up there in the Bay Area. We grew a pretty sizable network from an investor perspective, but always had challenges surrounding testing in the aerospace, as well as the cost of living and attracting talent. one of the challenges if you ever built a company in the Bay Area is Google and all these other big companies can poach your talent, pay them twice the cost, and then you're left with nothing. And so that competition really spurred the question within ourselves as an organization is what does the next level of growth look like? And not a lot of people know, but San Diego ushered in the jet aviation age here. There's a lot of old infrastructure that still remains that is kind of a mystery to most of our communities, but actually one of the world's class wind tunnels is right here at the airport. All the talent from Northrop and General Atomics is here and available, as well as aerospace. So as the pandemic kind of wound down, we had a decision to make as where the next growth cycle for the company looks like. And we just decided to move down to San Diego. So we've been really successful in attracting talent from the big OEMs, growing the team over here, also establishing infrastructure of our own at Brownfield. So it's been a very successful journey, but we still find it, a lot of our, I guess, fundraising still is in the Bay Area, Los Angeles, Boston, and New York.
Brilliant. And I was really moved by the opportunities that open for your autonomous planes in terms of shipping fresh food to areas that potentially don't have access. So it's really incredible that you can innovate cross-border transport.
Yes, the vision of the company is to design and build large unmanned aircraft to help commoditize air freight, essentially bring the cost down by 50 to 60%. So that will get things like perishables or food in the stores to be cheaper and more fresh, especially in countries like the Middle East. E-commerce will essentially commoditize cross-border trade. And so really gets our customers excited, the major airlines. The company today has an order book of $8.6 billion, and we're a Series A company, which is fantastic.
It's amazing. I was going to memorize that part, but it was too hard. 50, 60%. Your mics all are amazing, and my mic is the crappy one. It's fascinating. Okay, thank you. Adil, you are creating bionic limbs, but your story starts when you were 7 years old. It's a really beautiful story. Do you want to just tell us how you ended in San Diego?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I was born in Chicagoland, and my parents are from Pakistan, and I was actually visiting Pakistan when I was 7 years old, and that's the first time I met someone missing a limb, and she was my age, missing her right leg, using a tree branch as a crutch, living in poverty. And that's what inspired me to go into this field. And so I went to Loyola Chicago for undergrad, got a bachelor's in biology, master's in computer science there, taught there for a couple years, went to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, got another master's in electrical and computer engineering, PhD in neuroscience. Then I left medical school to do this because this was a lot more fun than finishing medical school. But while we were in while I was doing my PhD, we got the chance to go down to Ecuador, and this is part of a much longer story of 2 weeks of all-nighters and trying to get a very early prototype of our hand to work. But we had a patient who had lost his left hand 35 years prior due to a landmine explosion, and in front of international news stations, he said he felt as though a part of him had come back because he made a pinch with his left hand for the first time in 35 years. And when he said that, that's when I realized that if I stay in academia, this just ends up as a journal paper. If we want everyone to feel the same way that Juan, our patient, did, we had to commercialize the technology, and that's when PSYONIC was born. And so we built the company in Champaign, Illinois, where I did my PhD, and then about a year and a half ago, we moved here to San Diego, and there are many reasons why we moved out here, particularly because we're building the next generation of these bionic limbs in conjunction with the Navy hospital that's out here, as well as UCSD, where I'm affiliate faculty in bioengineering there. And the way that these hands are currently controlled, you can do these like pre-programmed grips where I can do like a fist or like a pinch, or if I'm at the beach, I can hang loose, or like, our favorite is a finger wave where you can see all the fingers moving. But that's not how we control our hands naturally. We can control each individual finger. And so what we're doing with the Navy Hospital and UCSD is a surgery where you implant titanium implants in your bone and then sensors directly in your nerves, and then you would actually get individual finger control and feeling from the fingers. And so our goal is to turn San Diego into the bionics capital of the world by bringing all these resources together and doing something the whole world has never seen before.
Wow. Wow. I'm pausing for effect. There are some people in the audience who know me, so thank you. Testing. Can you guys hear me in the back? Yeah. Okay, great. I'm just gonna. So, Chris, nice to see you, man. Okay, so we've gotten any questions for the three of them based on their history? We have AI, we have airspace, and we have bionics. Who knew that these companies were in San Diego? Okay. Who didn't know that they were in San Diego? Thank you. Yeah, thank you, team. The honesty. Cool. So, Yin, you also have a history in biology, computer vision. I think you did some work with that at Qualcomm. Obviously, you've been in the San Diego tech scene for a while. I'm curious to know what changes or what trends have you seen, especially in the machine learning AI space, that you potentially could share with the audience?
Yeah, totally. I picked up computational neuroscience background during my grad school and also continue working in a very relevant domain at Qualcomm. And then later, artificial intelligence started this new wave of deep learning around 2014, and I worked at a deep learning focused company and gradually getting more and more focused on building large neural networks and build applications that utilize these neural networks. I think the time that I observed that in the past, there are a lot of different diverse ways of doing intelligent systems, and think about all these different steps that you put a whole system together, and the vision, the audio, and the motor actions, all were done by very different approaches. But obviously, ever since deep learning, a lot of the technologies and techniques for artificial intelligence systems are getting more and more centralized into a dominating approach, which is a very large neural networks, and today, which is the foundation of Gen AI and large language models. Besides all the approaches are getting more and more centralized, I also noticed that it places more demand on AI developers tinkering capabilities and coding capabilities. And in the past, probably you spend a lot of time in the lab designing your algorithms and develop a lot of theoretical approaches. But today, the cycle time between you have an idea to you have a prototype and utilize all the off-the-shelf open source tools and libraries to put together that prototype, the cycle times is very, very short. And then it just provides a lot of opportunities for people who are more hands-on, who are very good at tinkering ideas and who are very biased towards action, and give them a lot more opportunities to bring their ideas into an AI product and launch to the market. So over the time, I think there is always, people always say that diversity is the catalyst of innovation. But throughout this last decades, I can see that diversity is still very important when it comes to creative problem solving and thinking about different approaches. But then there are a lot more common themes among how things can launch into the market and can solve a real user problem and bring value to your users. So I think that mentality is shifting inside the AI domain as well. It goes from research and something happening in the lab to actually a product and business opportunities in the market, so which is very exciting. And I think a lot of the people or upcoming talents who wanted to have a place in the AI market, I think those are the trends that people can watch out for and then find the best fit for them.
And are you going to find AI developers in SoCal?
Yeah, definitely.
What is an AI developer?
Which is a very interesting topic. In the past, as I was alluded to, AI...
You only have 10 seconds to answer that question.
AI developers are people who can bring AI into a product.
Rock and roll, rock and roll. Pausing. Thank you. Thank you, Yin Yin. Thank you, yes, question.
The difference that all of you are making. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. And I actually have a question for all three of you, so I hope I'm not monopolizing the time, but Yin Yin, for you, I'm so intrigued by what you're doing, and I'm curious to know about the implications of the workforce with the technology that you're creating. Have you personally found that there's any jobs or opportunities that are going to be eliminated due to the technology you're developing?
Good question. Do I have more than 10 seconds?
60 seconds.
Very good question, because I think ever since this recent wave of Gen AI, people are talking about reducing their workforce because they can use robots and automations to replace a lot of the jobs. I think in the market of Seismic is serving sales and marketing, and specifically for sales enablement operations. The value of AI is really helping users to get the job done much faster. And it is a co-pilot tool. It is all for users to increase their productivity and efficiency and really alleviate users from the mundane and tedious tasks into something that they are passionate about. In sales marketing are all about building in-person connections and all that human touch where you can actually convert a transaction into a human connection. And that is all it matters. And with the tools, the goal is always to get the job done for the users, and so the users can spend their mental cycles to talk with their customers and build more compassion.
Love it. Hey, I was just told we have 10 minutes. So yeah, now I'm regretting saying this is an interactive session. Quick, can I mind if I move on to the next person?
Hey, I have a quick question for, hopefully it's quick. What's your biggest obstacle you face right now, and how are you getting through it or over it? Quickly.
So our biggest problem is actually a good problem to have. We've got more demand than we can produce, and so we're working on scaling things. Another reason why we moved to San Diego is nearshoring, Tijuana, building up a plant there so we can build more bionic limbs, but also just attracting a lot more talents for both on the assembly side and the engineering side.
Hiring?
Yep, exactly.
How large is your team?
When we moved here, there were 7 of us last year, and now there's 25, so we've tripled in size.
Love it. Alexei?
So we're about to finish our fundraise, but fundraising has always been a challenge, especially our products take billions of dollars sometimes to bring to market. So we are in a never-ending cycle of fundraise. And unfortunately, coming from the Bay Area, we have already that network for that fundraise. But Al is an investor in Interlock. He's an amazing individual. You should talk to him if you're fundraising. But there's still in San Diego a very short list of investors, which I think has become a huge challenge in growing new opportunities and attracting founders to actually start something here. So the talent pool, manufacturing base exists, but it feels like the money is still a long ways away.
I feel like you guys probably spend a lot of time on the road raising money.
Yeah, especially internationally.
Is that where you were the other day when we did a Zoom call?
No, I was visiting a clinic, actually.
Okay, got it. Great, we had a question in the back there, quickly.
Yeah, given California's reputation and reality of the difficulties of doing business due to regulations, taxes, how much does that factor into, 1, your decision to move from Chicago to here, and 2, to continue to stay here? The CEOs of Viasat and Qualcomm have been noted to say if they had to do it all over again, they would not have done it in California.
So maybe I could take that one. So we're kind of in prototyping stage. So San Diego is a good home for us for the next 2 to 3 years, but there's a huge question mark for us what's going to happen in the future as we scale up. And so we have been courted by different countries offering billions of dollars to us. Of course, that's what we need to go and scale up our products to states like North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, Utah, Nevada, I mean, you name it. And all of those states are actually better for doing business. The big question that we still have in our mind as we think this through is how do you attract talent to those places? Especially that we still see a lot of the talent pool enjoying the California sunshine, the large wages that they get here and the lifestyle they've built here. And so moving to Montana or Wyoming feels like still a long leap away.
Yeah, we're considering moving to Wyoming. Kidding. Okay. And how about you? Moving from Chicago to California?
Yeah, honestly, Illinois' taxes and things weren't much better than California. But for us, it was largely the pros and cons that came with moving over here, and the pros were largely outweighing the cons. And so even though the cost of living is much higher and things like that, the benefit that we got by leveraging the Navy Hospital and Challenge Athletes Foundation, the Olympic Training Center, the entire entertainment industry in LA, and then, like I said, Tijuana nearshoring and things like that, it kind of outweighed all that stuff. And I mean, the weather doesn't hurt either as well. And so attracting talent to come to San Diego to work in a bionic company, like a bionic limb company, I think that was pretty awesome for our employees.
That is a very interesting thought. And if you think from 0 to 1, the innovation stage, go to where the people are and love living. But then if you scale up, you have to then leave. It's pretty sad. So we're going to see you leave.
Maybe talk to your governor? I don't know.
Great. Any more questions? Yes.
This would be more specifically for Union. You had mentioned noticing certain trends amongst AI companies. On the last panel, we had a Google engineer mention a preference for in-context learning versus fine-tuning models. And there's also a sort of general race between producing an AGI versus retrieval augmented generation. Are there any of these trends that you've noticed that you've found rather surprising that you think smaller to medium-sized AI firms should be aware of as they scale?
Yeah, so I think for companies like Seismic, and probably applicable to a lot of AI products companies, the goal is to bring capabilities to users. And so either you spend time finding the magical experience and the touch point with the users, or you spend time building the foundations. While there are many other companies with much larger fundings and building the foundations. So I think my priority is really to help Seismic customers to enjoy AI. And so our focus has always been the application layer. Either is a RAG or is fine-tuned model. We don't spend a lot of time building the foundations, but use whatever best in the market. And the speed to market is also very critical for companies like us.
Excellent. We have 5 minutes left. I just want to end off by saying we have AI, airspace, and bionics. So will we see a sentient flying robot?
I would say we have all the expertise here to build Iron Man.
Love it. Will we see a sentient flying robot?
I think that's the future we wanted to build for our kids, right? And so we will make it happen.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess from our perspective, going in from the Bay Area in 2016, seeing all these trends, we feel AI is just another hype cycle. I feel like there's a lot of it that's still going to stay, but at the same time, we'll see the reality sink in, and maybe a lot of those applications we always dreamed of will take a little bit longer time to develop. Now, with that being said, the FAA is still very allergic to AI. We still use scripting in a lot of our autopilot code, which is the only legal thing to do. So, yeah, so you have to convince the FAA, and I feel like we're probably 30 years out from that.
Do you think that you would, like Tesla, have a central data store for all your autonomous flights and like?
There's a lot of security issues with that too, and so yeah, there's challenges.
We should call that full self-flying.
Full self-flying.
Thank you.
Yeah, there we go.
No response. Okay, cool. Okay, so for my 11-year-old, I'm still talking about the sentient flying robot because I did prepare you guys for this question. So, what needs to be true in San Diego, do you think, as you look forward for our children to have a prosperous, innovative vibe in SoCal? What needs to be true, do you think? I think we alluded to sort of regulation. We alluded to potentially having to move away to scale. If you could sort of snap your fingers and we could be put on a path for our children, what needs to happen in SoCal to establish that innovative vibe?
So from our perspective, just investors, seeing the kind of the investment base go where folks, students coming out of college or universities can go and be able to raise capital in San Diego for their pre-seed and seed rounds is going to really ignite this ecosystem. And then you also need to have a pipe going back to San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New York from the current investor and networks to be able to connect the pre-seed and seed capital here in San Diego long-term to the larger capital such as Series A and beyond. And so without, growing up in the Bay Area, I have a hard time seeing how we can really scale up the ecosystem here without the capital.
Very good.
I believe we have a great community here, and in the past, throughout my career, a lot of people actually help me, and they operated with a very implicit model as pay it forward. So when people help others, and others will help other companies, and growth stage will help early stage companies, and so on and so forth. I think the pay it forward model has been always very beneficial for ecosystem like Boston or San Francisco, and people always do that all the time, invest their time for others. And I think in San Diego, we have a very strong community, and the pay it forward will also help us.
Love it. And then, you know, your final word, the bionics capital of the world?
Yes.
How's that happening, man?
Yeah, so I invite any of you guys to come and visit our lab. We have a robot dog that has our hand. We've got all of our prototypes in glass cases, and we do all of our manufacturing in-house. And like I said, by bringing all these resources that are already here in San Diego together, our goal is that in 1.5 years, we'll start clinical trials on our implanted electrodes, and we'll have our first patients playing piano or typing on a keyboard again. And that's how we're going to become the bionics capital of the
Amazing.
world.
Can I ask all of you to please stand? Everyone please stand. No, you're going to sit. Okay, everyone standing. Can you guys please just give these guys an applause?